The first item on the agenda is the minutes of this committee's meeting held Monday, December 14th. The recommendations to approve those minutes.
Mover?
Move approve.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Next item.
Item 2 is a street and traffic bylaw amendment for Coast Meridian Road truck route designation from David Avenue to Victoria Drive. The staff recommendation is to give first, second, and third readings to Bylaw 4097 in order to add Coast Meridian between these two streets to the municipal truck route network, and 2, that TransLink Board of Directors be requested to designate Coast Meridian Road between David Avenue and Victoria Drive as an MRN element.
Move the recommendations.
Second, and I have a question. As an MRN, will Coast Meridian get a bike lane?
My understanding is that our portion of Coast Meridian will have capacity for bicycle lanes. The existing Coast Meridian in Port Coquitlam is built to a somewhat narrower standard, so it might be difficult from that perspective. But I wonder, Dana, do you have any further information on bike lanes? So I can get back to you on
yeah, I'd like,
but our section will have bike lane.
Right, because as you know, any cyclist would know that you can ride on the bike lane for part of the road and then it disappears because it's somebody else's jurisdiction. It would be really nice to have some conversation with Port Coquitlam to see if there's any way that this could have some flow.
Thank you. We can take that under as instruction.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Next item.
Next item, item 3, concerns soil substance removal fees. The staff recommendation is that council receive this report, and 2, that staff be directed to consult with the aggregate mining operators on the proposed fee increases outlined in the report and report back later in 2010.
Move the recommendation.
I'll second, and I have some questions.
So go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay. One thing that, you know, it's now 26 cents, and I don't know whether we had a chance to look at it, but I think our bylaw before 1988 was changed to quite a bit more. I know it was doubled. So I don't know whether it was 46 cents or it was 13 cents and got up to 26 cents. But there's definitely a resolution on it, and I believe that it was not 26 cents. I could be wrong. But I think we need to talk to the, I guess, the gravel operators on this 26 cents. Also, I think we need to do is have something that does not, this is 1998 apparently since it's been changed, but I think it's been changed after that, but I could be wrong. But I think we need to definitely have something in place to where we don't wait for 20 years before we jump and want a great big jump on the soils removal permit fees, okay?
Is that everything, Councilor?
Yeah.
Okay. I too actually had some similar questions. The comment in the background says that the fee should be reviewed periodically, and 22 years is hardly periodically. So I would like us to have some sort of sense of what periodic would be. So is it a 5-year window, an 8-year window, something more concrete? Because periodically it's just, I think, too vague. That runs the risk of us going 22 years without reviewing it. The other thing I'd like to see is to report back on a fee increase implementation plan that's noted in recommendation 2, to do that later in 2010. And again, I'd like to know sort of later meaning the fall, later meaning the spring, some sort of season at least would be helpful so that we can track that. And just another sort of comment, I'm glad that we're going to be going to the gravel mining operators for some consultation because we want to know if there's going to be any business impacts, and I can promise you there are business impacts. This is quite a huge leap. But I'd like to sort of hear from them around how much of an impact and find a way to make this what I think is a painful increase a little less painful as we sort of incrementally look at it. And if they say, you know, and let them know that we're going to be reviewing this more regularly, that they've had a gift, I think, for a fair number of years, and help them to recognize that. And I've noticed that there aren't any of the gravel operators here, which I'm a little surprised.
Wait till they read the paper.
Did you have another
Yes,
comment?
yes. I think that might be wise, rather than the staff consulting with them, might be wise we brought the gravel operators before this committee. Let's hear from the horse's mouth what they have to say. I know that by the time they finish speaking, we'll probably want to rebate. They'll probably want us to rebate the 26 cents, but that's all right. Let's listen to them and see what they have to say.
You have a comment, Mr. Susak?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll offer a few comments to hopefully help clarify. We intend to come back to committee in the first half of this year, having completed consultation and having a written phased implementation plan. And it will take us some time to meet with the gravel producers and get their feedback. I suspect that certainly some of them understand what the construction prices have been over the past 20 years, and I think they get it. The issue is how do we do this in a way that eases the pain, if you will. So we will do that. We will also invite them to come at any time if they wish and address this committee. We can certainly put that invitation out. And in terms of regular review, what I have in my mind is that we would review this bylaw every 3 years, approximately. So that's our go-forward work plan.
Great, great, thank you. Any other comments?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Item 4 concerns tree management bylaw 4091. Staff recommendation is that the existing tree management bylaw 3855 be repealed and that first, second, and third readings be given to tree management bylaw 4091.
Councillor Sikora, I think has...
Yes, I will not make this motion. I think for one thing, Madam Chair, that this should not be dealt with this committee. I noticed that the report was written by Jim McIntyre, Land Use, and Laurie McKay, Parks Recreation. So why is it not, Bill Susak that's beside this report? Why is it before our committee? This is certainly tree bylaw started with the Land Use Committee. That's where it should be finished. I will not deal with it in this committee. I don't see it for any reason whatsoever why it should be before this committee. And that's all there is to it, because what we're doing is taking on something that went, another thing, we went through this for over 2 years. Now we're reinventing the wheels again, and I refuse to do it. I've had it.
Let's have Mr. Susak respond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a similar discussion at the staff level where we were asking ourselves where does this really belong, and at the staff level we came to the conclusion that this issue is a part of the broad suite of environmental issues facing the city of Coquitlam. And on that basis we decided to forward it to the Environmental Standing Committee. Now we will take direction from committee. It can be referred to any other committee. But the authors of the report are here, and the general manager of planning is here also to address any questions.
Councillor Sikora.
Now, now we're stretching it to make it an environmental committee. I guess to a certain extent that it might affect the environment and that type of deal if you pull down the tree. But certainly it's not where it started, it's not where it should end, and I will move it that it be going to the Land Use Committee where it belongs.
Well, I hadn't thought about that. And I'm not sure that I'd support that.
Well, the one thing...
I don't know that it would make, I don't know that it would make much difference. I'm not happy with this, so, and I sit on the other committee too, from my perspective. Yeah. But also, we do have a shift in terms of environmental services, and this is where they live, and this is an environmental issue. So on the one hand, I do see your concern, Councillor Sikora, about it having started with land use, but our staffing structure has changed. I think Mr. McIntyre has a comment.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. As Bill said, we too thought about this one, and on one hand, we don't want to bring reports forward that confuse committee and ultimately council, sometimes you have to make a decision. And given the changing direction, coming out of the Environmental Services Cyclical Review, much of those environmental services functions will be moving over to the Engineering and Public Works Department. That's Bill's department. The tree management component, which was fairly limited in plan development, will be joining the city's arborist group in leisure and parks. And again, that makes some good sense. You have the tree people together in leisure and parks. So that's why the report is a joint report, because if supported by committee, whatever committee and council, it would be kind of the handoff to leisure and parks. Could be that general manager would have that delegation authority if supported by council. So admittedly, it's a little tricky, but at the end of the day, what we wanted to do was bring forward a report and a bylaw that responds to the direction we received from council, and bring it forward to committee for consideration, and then on to council with whatever recommendation the standing committee wishes to make.
Okay. Now, this is really wearing on me, because for the last 2.5 years we've been dilly-dang along with this bylaw. We finally, I don't know how we couldn't perfect it in 2.5 years, but we're going to try and modify it and perfect it now, which creates a problem. But who did they go to when they want to get a tree permit fee to remove a tree? To the planning department, am I right?
Madam Chair, in response to Councillor Sikor's question, if this bylaw is supported by committee and then ultimately by council, the process for applying for a tree removal permit would be handled through the Leisure and Parks Services Department. There would be a forestry or an urban forest section there that would have the staff that would process those applications.
So every tree that's removed in Coquitlam, whether it be in a park or elsewhere, goes through Parks and Recreation for a permit fee?
If I could address this issue, this was the one area of the cyclical review that was not finalized. There was some commentary made when we dealt with this issue that we should think about that some more, and we have not finalized that whole process yet, and so that part of it is not yet finished. As Bill indicated, we struggled. In fact, we had a debate at our executive team meeting, which committee should this go to, in terms of, and cogent arguments could have been made for each of the three committees. At the end of the day, the ultimate decision has to be made by council, and we are very willing to deal with it in whatever committee format you want. Part of the problem with the committee structure is that you get into specialties and those kind of things. Maybe an alternative, since we do have time, would just be to add it on the strategic priorities committee tonight, and that would sort of like eliminate that debate. I just offer that up for consideration if you want to go there.
All right, Councillor Sikora.
Thank you very much. I think two things. If I can't succeed by moving it back to the Land Use Committee, where it started, where it should end, then I'll move it to the Executive Committee for more debate.
Is that serious, or you're joking?
No, I'm just joking. I mean, this is the way this tree bylaw has been bounced around from one committee to the other. And I don't know what we're trying to accomplish by coming up with another tree bylaw that describes a tree as a tree, a garage is a garage, a fence is a fence. I mean, goes on and on and on and on. And to me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm through with this tree bylaw. I don't want to discuss it anymore. Neither does it belong in this committee.
The issue about where the committee is, that's up for debate, and we can discuss that. We do need a tree bylaw. All this report was trying to do was implement council's previous direction. And so council, had lots of discussion on the issue, and they advised the planning department, and there's still the authors of this and the main people behind deciding, how to bring forward the bylaws. All they are doing is bringing in bylaw form back council's previous recommendations. So I'll just...
Mayor Stewart.
Thank you. Councillor Sikora is right in one respect that this is a request by council to bring this back, and this has been being worked on for a number of years. Council actually directed staff a while ago, as indicated in the report, to come back with these repairs to the bylaw to make it actually work properly. In the interim, we've had a whole bunch of workings related to the establishment of standing committees, and standing committees in particular, I think we'd be really resoundingly criticized if we put an environmental issue like tree protection in a committee that, other than the one that deals with the environment. So I'm left with, if council were to decide this afternoon, perhaps, in the strategic priorities, to move it somewhere else, that would be fine, but I can't imagine where they would move it, because while it does get dealt with in land use, so do many of the other environmental issues get dealt with in land use, or by a planning department. Some of the environmental issues get dealt with by the Parks and Recreation Department, and some of them get dealt with by the Engineering Department or various other departments of the city. They need to be at one of the standing committees. We decided as a council, and the appointments are now, that this committee deals with environmental issues, and I think it makes I can't imagine putting it somewhere else. So,
Okay, thank you. Councillor Reid?
Well, the tree bylaw. Last year, we did deal with it in a way that we got to separate the new development from the existing tree management situation within the city. So land use, of course, would have taken it, and I'd be happy to deal with it, and we all will deal with it. Doesn't matter what committee it comes to. Every member of this council is going to deal with it. But what's left of this tree bylaw is the part that deals with all the trees that is already on private properties and city properties that are already built. There's no more new development within this. So because we changed in this last 6 months to have environment coming to engineering and utilities, this is the proper place for it to be, because this is where the Environment Committee reports to. But I think on an issue as big and as important as this, it will get discussed here, and it will get discussed by every member of council. And this is just sort of a layover till it gets to the full council. Probably because this is the reporting committee for the Environment Committee.
Any more comments, Councillor?
Yes. Yeah, the problem that I have, and it doesn't matter, but the fact is that Bylaw started a land use committee. Am I correct? Am I correct? This Bylaw, tree bylaw, first came out of land use. Did it not?
But there was no environment.
No. We had a committee with Dan. We had the committee of environment, committee engineering. Then the fourth and final reading. Yeah. Environment. Yeah, but then the fourth and final reading was given when the planning department brought up the final bylaw. So that's where it belongs.
Actually, Councillor Sikora, I have a report for committee dated February 6, 2009, tree management bylaw for the Engineering, Utilities, and Environment Standing Committee. So it's been with this committee.
That was 2009.
That was certainly last year. It was already here at this committee.
Last year. The year before, and the year before, and the year before, it was at the land use committee.
Well, on a point of order, there wasn't a land use committee the year before. The year before we were in.
No, I realize that.
We had committee of the whole, and that's where this sat at committee of the whole back then. The only times it's ever been dealt with by a standing committee, it's been dealt with by the engineering standing committee.
Right.
Anyways, you want to deal with it here? It's just as simple as that. I will not be supporting it.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Sikora. I too will not be supporting it for different reasons. I'm still quite disappointed that this bylaw hasn't used what we call the community consultation process. And I had a chance, not much of a chance, but I did have a chance to go through historically where this council, previous council and now this council have gone and lost a whole bunch of work. It's not included here. And I believe I've brought a picture. Denise, do you want to click that up there? And I'm concerned that if we don't have a really good, strong bylaw, that we run the risk of looking like this. This is Wadi Musa, Jordan, and they have a single tree. And I don't want our community to look like this, and I think we need to have a really strong bylaw. So I'm not going to support it because I just don't think it's strong enough. So, all those in favor?
You have to move it on without recommendation.
Oh, okay, thank you.
There's no recommendation.
There's no recommendation.
We've got no recommendation.
So we will
What do we do now?
move it on to council without recommendation from this
Council.
committee if that is the committee's will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the committee's will? That's the committee's will. Thank you.
That is the